Hello, I'm Brian Meadow. Welcome to another segment of the Veterans History Project. You know, most of the time when we get a story from a gentleman in his late 70s or his early 80s, most of the time he'll tell us a story about working in a defense plant. And when he wants to describe his contribution to the war, it's either a defense plant or he gets into a uniform and serves with one of our military services. Today's guest was not satisfied to do one or the other. Bill Dreggors was both a defense worker early in the war and joined the Navy later in the conflict. Bill Dreggors was born in DeLand, Florida, and raised in DeLand, which is in central Florida, just outside of Daytona Beach. Bill graduated from high school in the early segments of World War II and immediately went to work for the Waco Glider Assembly Facility just outside of DeLand. Later in the war, Bill did don the uniform of the United States Navy, and he served aboard our supercarrier, the first supercarrier of that time, known as the U.S. Midway. Bill Dreggors brings to the interview booth a unique perspective in that Bill is also an executive director for the West Volusia Historical Society. And so, without further ado, Mr. Bill Dreggors. Bill, let's start at the beginning. Why don't you tell us what you were doing immediately before getting into the service and where you were hanging out at that time?
Well, I told you before what I was doing there, but I got to go back a little further.
By all means.
First, I had me a job at the ice plant out here, pulling ice out of the thing out there at the ice plant. I worked from 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, and 6 in the morning, 7 days a week.
You worked at the ice plant while you were in high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right at when I was in the junior year, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And I ran the farm for the future farmers across the road from it. And then I had me an ice route down in the southwest section of the land that I run. Great, I loved it. And the job with the railroad. I worked from the railroad out in the signal maintenance part of it.
Is this still in high school or
This
after?
is still in high school.
Okay.
That was important when I...
What year are we talking?
Well, 41,
Okay.
there. And then I got a job at the glider plant. We had a glider plant making Waco gliders out here on where the old fairgrounds were at, where Depot is today. The circus owns it now.
What year was it you went with the glider people?
I guess it's about 1944.
44.
Yeah, just before I went into service. I worked out there on them things and prayed that I never had to ride on one of them.
Why?
They were so flimsy. They was nothing but the nose piece, which I worked on first, was made out of spruce pine with the skin stretched over it, and then the body of the plane and the wings were made out of tubular steel, and the skin stretched over it, and there wasn't much to it.
Now, the glider was set up so that it would carry about how many troopers?
I'm not positive the number, but I think if I remember the seats arrangement in it, they probably maybe carry 24 men.
Now, if it was a rough landing, were they secured in their seats, or were they just loose?
They were just sitting there. It was a bench.
Yeah.
Benches down each side, and they sit on those benches. And it was also, they could carry a small field artillery piece, but they couldn't carry no men. Or they could carry a piece of a Jeep in there, but they couldn't carry men with it. That took up the whole plane. And my last job there was, before I went into service, was putting, securing everything in there for it to be shipped. And they would pull them out to the airport, and they would come in there with B-17s and P-47, and 47s, and pick them up and tow them to wherever they were going, and then they would land them there. And they always carried a big roll of 3/4 inch nylon rope and a 2-rolled half-inch, and a pole that they could set up out there in the field and stretch that thing across there, and the plane could come along, hook it, pick them back up.
Tell me this, did you ever get to see one of your gliders in action?
No, never saw one.
Uh-huh.
Then I got drafted and went to Camp Landing up in Stark for my pre-induction physical, which I passed, and then a few weeks later they called me and said it's time to go bring a toothbrush because you ain't coming back.
You ain't coming back. How old were you when you got drafted?
I was just turned 18.
18 years old. Now, did it occur to you that maybe being as how you were employed in the defense industry, you could get a deferment?
No, never thought about it.
Later on, did you learn that people were getting deferments?
Oh, I knew that,
Okay.
but I didn't.
You decided to do your duty?
Yeah, I was just gonna go.
Okay.
I wanted to finish high school before I went, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got up to Camp Landing for induction, and going through a line there, and a man sitting there telling you where you were going to. And I wanted to go in the Navy, but there was the 3 guys ahead of me asked to go in the Navy, and they were all put in the Army. So when he got up there to me, he said, "What do you want to go in?" I said, "I don't care." He said, "I'm going to put you in the Navy." So I got what I wanted, went to Jacksonville, and they gathered up what enlistees and the rest of it, all of us had been drafted, and sent us to Camp Maryland, Bainbridge, Maryland, where we're going through boot camp.
Mm-hmm. How was it in Bainbridge?
Colder than I've never seen snow in my life. I got there, stepped off that train, it was banked up 10 feet high out there in the depot.
Welcome to the Great White North.
North, that's right. And I didn't have nothing but a little old coat on, and about freeze slammed to death. And it was 2 weeks before we got any clothes. After I got to Bainbridge, is what I had.
Now, what did they call that phase of your training? What was
That was boot camp.
school was known as boot camp?
Yeah.
Do you remember what you did in boot camp? How it was broken down?
A little bit of it. They went with a lot of tests, aptitude tests, to figure out what you was adapted to.
Yeah.
And,
what did they decide you had the aptitude for?
well, they sent me off to radar school.
Okay.
When I left Bainbridge, I went to Fort Lauderdale.
Must have scored good then.
Yeah, they lived down there to a hotel right on the beach, which had since been torn down. But it was good duty. And
Mm-hmm.
we lived in the rooms in the hotel where we lived and had classes and radar classes. And
Also, you're back in the climate that's more to your liking.
Yeah, right. It's a whole lot warmer here than it was in Bainbridge, Maryland. Although in the spring up there, when I was still up there in the spring, it was gorgeous. It was really pretty.
Oh, in Bainbridge?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Maryland up there was gorgeous in the spring.
So, did you receive technical training then when you were in Fort Lauderdale? What was that like? Mostly classroom or
It was all
hands-on or
it was
both?
classroom and hands-on too, but mostly classroom stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'd have to go down to the beach and drill, and they had some kind of old rifle. I don't think they even shot, but we'd run up and down the beach with them in case somebody landed off in a submarine. We could defend the beach for them. But something to give us something to do, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see you take on a submarine.
That was the first place that I ever, the only place, you all know what it was. I had only 2 places where we got food served family style. There were
Yeah.
2 hotels side by side.
Yeah.
And the other hotel was, they had a different kind of school in it. But we all eat over there. We had regular waitresses that waited on the tables and served us our food and everything.
If you're sitting on the right end of the table, that means all you can eat, doesn't it?
That's right. We had plenty to eat. It was good duty.
Going back now to radar school, what was the toughest thing or the most interesting thing you had to learn in that school?
Well, wasn't nothing really tough because we didn't do any repairs on them. That was
Yeah.
a different one.
You just
In fact,
operations?
The other room over the other hotel, those are the guys that would learn to repair.
Yeah.
And all we did was operate them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was early days of radar. You
Yeah.
remember, there wasn't a whole lot in there for us to do. There was one, what they call it, really a surface radar, and then they had another one that was an air radar.
What was the tactical purpose of operating this radar so that you'd know how many ships are out there, or what their size or shape is, or
Well,
what?
it rotated the antenna up there. picked up any objects out there, and it showed as a dot on the screen.
Yeah.
And you'd tell the guy behind a board over a big plastic board that would chart it.
Yeah.
You'd tell the dart that's where it was at, and he'd mark it on that big board back there.
Could you identify aircraft as well as surface
Yes.
vessels?
And he would mark it, and the next time he'd come around, you'd give him a new thing to get you pretty clear. You could tell where he was going, how fast he was moving.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of fun. And from there, I went to Ocracoke, North Carolina.
Say that again so I can understand it. Ocracoke, did you say?
Ocracoke.
Ocracoke.
It's an island off of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where they have the wild horses.
Yes.
So we went up there, and that was another place where we eat family style. Everybody eat together. Big old house out there. And all the men eat together, officers and everybody around the place. We had softball teams. We played softball and drank beer every afternoon after we got through with softball. And we'd go in and all sit down drinking beer. Indian head
No
beer.
wonder you wanted to get into the Navy.
Indian head beer. Never seen it again. That's the only place I ever saw it.
First I've heard of it.
Well, that's what we had to drink. I don't know how much alcohol there. It probably wasn't very much.
Yeah.
But come a hurricane while we was there.
What was your duty there?
Just
We've heard about the
storm.
playing and the drinking. What was the duty?
Well, our duty was to learn to counteract radar.
Okay.
It was how they'd take aluminum foil, certain widths and lengths, and it had to be just the right stuff. They'd take it out and scatter it out in the plane, and they would just turn the green.
Okay.
Couldn't see nothing out of it.
Mhm.
And it was a counter measure.
How long did that go on?
I was up there about a month, I guess.
Okay, you wanted it to be longer, but then they shipped you out somewhere else.
Well, I went to my ship, to Midway. Thank goodness I wasn't there when it opened up. When they put it out, they put the men on it. They filled the water tanks, and the water tanks were full of rats. And everybody on there got sick from drinking that water. So they had to drain all the water out of the tanks and go in there and clean them, and then fill them back up. And fresh water supply. So I was glad I didn't make that first wave.
I'll be darned. And this is a brand new ship,
Brand
and
new.
it's got rats in the water system.
Well, it was in the tanks.
Yeah.
The rats had got in the tanks while they were building the thing. And they didn't know about it. They just filled them up with water.
So from Ocracoke to, where was the ship?
Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk? You went by what, train?
Yeah. Portsmouth Navy Yard.
Mm-hmm.
And train with I think it was a wood burner. It was so old.
Yeah.
And it's real hot, and you let the windows down, the sparks would fly in there, and they had finally closed the windows. It was terrible, but it moved us back and forth, I guess. It got us where we were supposed to go.
What did you think about that ship the first time you laid eyes on it?
The biggest thing I had ever seen floating. The biggest 3 football fields.
Yep.
And it was huge. It was a huge thing.
The USS Midway, you have that right?
It was a CVB.
Spell that out for us.
CVB.
Uh-huh.
U.S. Midway.
Okay.
And the CV stood for carrier.
Yeah.
The B stood for battleship.
Uh-huh.
Because it had 6.
Because of all the guns?
It had 6 5-inch guns on each side,
Mm-hmm.
which made it then classified as a battleship.
Okay.
That was the first one on the ship that put 5-inch guns on. All the rest of them been 4. And they put 6 5-inch on them. But when I got out of the Navy, the carrier didn't put it in dry dock. They took the guns off. And it became just a CV. The B was
Yeah,
dropped.
yeah. Now, was that the first of the new class of carriers?
Yeah, that
The
was
Midway was the first
Yeah,
keel.
They call it the Midway class.
All right.
There was only 3 of them: the Midway, the Roosevelt, and the Carl C's.
Uh-huh. How many people on that? There was Bill Dreggors on board, and how many others?
Well, the crew was complement. They were all on there. There was about 3,500, but we never had a full complement of that.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere around 3,000, 2,500, 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
But that included the flight personnel, the plane pilots, and all too.
Right. So you're in Norfolk, and how long were you in port before you actually got to go out, put out to sea?
It wasn't too long. This is the first cruise ship too. They put 4-bladed props on,
Yeah.
propellers, and there's 3 of them, I think, or 4. I can't remember which now. 3 or 4 of them on it. and they took it out. That thing would get up to 40 knots. It would really move. In fact, it outrun the destroyers. If they opened it wide up, the destroyers couldn't keep up with us. It would move that fast. But when you got up to high speed, it started vibrating real bad.
Okay.
That's because of the four-bladed props. They just didn't work.
Uh-huh.
And after we went down to the Caribbean and fiddled around on that shakedown cruise, came back, they brought us into dry dock, put the thing up on the dry dock, pulled them props off, put three-bladed props on it.
Mm-hmm. Took care of the vibration.
Took care of the vibration.
All right. So were you, was your specialty on board to operate radar?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What was your rank at that time?
Third class.
Third class seaman, third class?
No, radarman third class.
Radar man, okay.
Third class.
A seaman would have, I guess, duties that were
I came on there as a
of the
seaman.
general.
I came on there as a seaman first class, and
Uh-huh.
I took the exams and demonstrated third class.
Uh-huh. And third class, were you promoted eventually, or was that your terminal grade as well?
That's what I was when I got out.
When you,
Now, I was offered for the lieutenant in charge of our division had been an FBI agent
Mhm.
in Jacksonville before he went in
Mhm.
service. He used to come down to land. He knew the land pretty well.
yeah.
And he and I became good friends. And when I come time for me to get out, he begged me to sign over. He said, I will promise you, there's not a chief radarman left in the Navy. They've all been discharged. He said, I'll promise you immediate promotion to first class, and within a year, you'll be a chief.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that, and I got married while I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I got a job at home waiting on the power company, and I think I'm gonna go. He said, well, I don't blame you, but I sure wish you'd stay. And I don't know, life would have been different for me, I know. If I
Yeah.
had.
But it's nice to have choices, and you
It
did.
was. I had a choice,
Mm-hmm.
because they put it in dry dock then and changed the ship completely. Took the 5-inch guns off of it, put an angled deck on it, moved the
Yeah.
island,
Yeah.
so that ship does not look like today what it looked like when it was built.
Mm-hmm. Now, the shakedown cruise, I assume, occurred, was that late 44 or early 1945?
Well, it was probably in early 45, I think.
Yeah.
But when we went back out the second time, we went up into the North Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
and pictures of the icebergs and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the helicopter on there. I think it was the first ship to have a helicopter on it. And
Yeah.
they also flew the first jet off of there.
Uh-huh.
They loaded it didn't land on it, they loaded it with a crane,
Mm-hmm.
but it took off of it and flew two of them, I think it was, into New York.
Mm-hmm.
They landed in New York.
Did the Midway see any action during the war?
No, did not.
Mhm.
War ended before it was ever able to run any action.
Mm-hmm. If there was any other job on board that you'd like to try out, with 3,000 plus jobs, there must have been some other interesting work. Was there anything else that you'd like to try your hand at?
No. I liked what I was doing,
Ah.
and I did like what I was doing.
Boy, did you luck out. You got the Navy and you got a great job.
That's right. Of course, now when we got in port, we had to load supplies. Everybody fell out and done that.
Yeah.
We all had to fall out in that line out there and tote sides of beef in and canned goods and
Uh-huh.
boxes and all that stuff, and big old things of Spam.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wore no Spam after that. And the guy that was bringing the stuff aboard
Yeah.
said, if you guys are gonna steal any of this stuff, you steal it before I check it in. If you steal it after I check it in, I'll kill every one of you.
Huh.
So the Spam was in 2 cans about that long and about
Yeah.
that square.
Yeah.
And we'd get a can of that stuff, because when you open it, had to eat it. We didn't have a place to keep it.
Go bad. Yeah.
But
But I always heard that the Navy ate the best of any of the services,
well, they did have good food. but
with the
Spam
exception of the
was-
Spam.
It was good at first, but we ate so much
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
And one time we got a 5-gallon can of milk.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't had no milk. Boy, that was good. We were sitting up there drinking it, and the Admiral cabin was right next to
Fresh
us.
milk versus powdered milk.
Right.
Okay.
The Admiral
Yeah.
was right next to us.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there drinking that milk, and I seen these big pretty shoes come up there, and I said, oh, I'm at it now. And everybody jumped up, and it was the Admiral.
Yeah.
And he looked at us and said, "Could you spare a little of that milk, boys?" I said, "Yes, sir, you can have all of it you want." He had a Filipino cook that took care of him, a valet, I guess you call him, whatever he was. And he told him, said, "Go get something out of a pitcher or something, put some of this milk in." And he went and got him one, and he said, "Where are you going to put the rest of this milk?" I said, "Well, we got to drink it because we don't have a place to keep it." He told that guy, that's his Filipino there, said, "Put this in our refrigerator, in our reefer. Put it in our reefer there." And said, "Then when they want, they just go and get it." He was a nice guy. He was.
I guess so.
And
Let's make sure we get his name straight. Admiral.
I'd have to look on. I got a thing at the house that's got his name on it, but I can't remember what it is.
Well, he was a nice guy with a forgettable name, but we'll get it.
Yeah,
we'll get it and put
he
it
was
on
a
the
nice guy. He
on the
was.
tape.
He was a nice man.
You know what? We haven't talked about the kind of aircraft. The main reason for an aircraft carrier is to tow the aircraft out and launch them and have them do their missions. What kind of aircraft, when you first went on board the Midway, did they have there?
They had Corsairs on there. They had Wildcats and Helldivers.
So there were no torpedo planes on this particular.
It could have been. I just don't
Carrier.
remember them. I do remember the others. So I do
Okay.
remember the three.
The Corsair, the Hellcat, and
Helldiver.
the Helldiver.
Yeah.
Any recollections about the sessions where you were launching these aircraft or taking them back on board? Do you remember any incidents that were particularly exciting?
Well, sometimes they didn't make it. They'd take off the end of the thing and it'd go right into the drink.
Did you see that yourself?
Yeah, I'd see them. We'd be standing down there on the lower deck and see the plane go floating by and the two guys crawling out of it.
Yeah.
And then get up on it, it'd sink right away, and they'd send a destroyer escort over to pick them up.
Okay.
And once in a while, one didn't make it, and it coming back, and they'd hit the end of the deck and flip over the side.
Were they using catapults at that time?
Yes, they were the first. I think one of the very first that had
And they had the angled
they didn't have
takeoff?
an angle then, no.
Oh, it wasn't
That's
angled?
what they did later. They put
Okay.
them on it.
Uh-huh.
But, they used it wasn't compressed air. It was, I believe, compressed air instead of the old one that was done with some kind of liquid stuff. It was inflammable.
Mhm.
But these were launched with compressed air.
Mhm.
The first one would be launched, and then the rest of them would take off.
Yeah. What was there one particular plane that had more trouble than the others? The Corsair versus the Helldiver versus the
No, not
Hellcat?
really.
They're just
Yeah, they were all good planes.
a mess up is a mess up, no matter
Yeah.
what you're flying.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing that would probably be interesting is where were you the day that the war ended? Where were you on VJ Day?
Well, I don't VJ Day. Oh, I was in Boston, Massachusetts.
What were you doing in Boston?
Went to school. The
A
Fargo
Navy
building.
school?
Navy Fargo. It's called the Fargo building.
Yeah.
They'd take you out in they had it was they had President's ex-yacht, and they'd take you out in the ocean out there for something. I don't know what it was, some kind of exercise. And I'd come back in.
Uh-huh.
And that's the biggest part I ever saw in my life.
The biggest party? Oh, VJ Day?
Boston, you couldn't move downtown. It
Just as big as New York in terms of the
Yeah.
excitement and
Yeah.
filling the streets.
Yeah.
Did you participate, Bill?
Well, of course.
Did you?
The Chinese down there in Chinatown, they had all the whiskey, beer, and all everything
Yeah.
you could eat or drink, just laying on the curb out there. You just,
Wow.
Just eat and drink everything you wanted to. And that's the only. I did something while I was there that probably not very many people ever done.
Uh-huh.
But I was down in a
Are
park.
you sure you want to tell us about
Oh,
this
yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were
Okay.
down in the park there one Sunday. I was down there one Sunday afternoon, and I guess it's kind of like a reading room up there. And I was sitting there, and the guy come in, a sailor come in there and said, "I need a best man for my wedding." But he said, "I need a Catholic. Is anybody in here Catholic?" And everybody looked at each other. No. He said, well, would somebody pretend to be a Catholic? And he said, I got to get married. So we're right over here in the park, and the priest and everybody's waiting over there, the whole wedding party.
Is this during VJ Day?
It was same time, yeah.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'll do it, but I'm not no Catholic. He said, that's okay, come on. So I went over there and went over to the priest and we signed a thing. He said, asked me something. I said, yes, sir. And I thought, I said, no, yes, sir, Father. He knew I wasn't no Catholic.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we got married, or they got married. And went out and took some pictures, and he said, now you got to come to the wedding party. Well, I don't know what kind of people they were Italian.
Yeah.
But they had the whole basement of a big hotel rented.
Uh-huh.
And they had the black suits on with the white shirts and the black ties.
Yeah.
And I ain't sure what there was, but they come on
Think
down
there could have
here.
been a Godfather or
I
two
think
there?
so. And
Maybe
anyhow,
a little mafia action going
Yeah.
on?
We went down, boy, they were nice, man. I can't
Yeah.
everything to eat, drink, man. They treated me like a king down there.
As if the celebration outside wasn't good enough, you got yourself into a rip-roaring wedding party too.
Oh, man, yeah.
It
I
kept
bet there
getting.
ain't very many people ever done anything.
Bill, I don't think many guys got through the war as comfortably as you did.
No?
You did okay. Now, were you still technically assigned to the Midway at that point? All right.
Yeah.
Did you go back to the ship?
Yeah.
And how much longer before they mustered you out?
Probably another 6 months.
All right.
Then I got enough points.
What kind of duty was it those 6 months?
Just, part of it was spent in port. We went to New York City.
Uh-huh.
And we was in New York, anchored in the harbor there, and we went downtown. There was a boy that was on the boat with me, or on the ship in my division. He lived in Boston, in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And he took me, said, one night we're going to all the bars. He said, up by, he used to work for Railway Express.
Yeah.
And we went down there where he knew to go. And we went bar to bar to bar, and you never had to pay for nothing. Somebody buy you drinks for you.
Yeah.
And we went to one
This
bar.
is what neighborhood? Off Broadway or
I ain't
Manhattan?
aware of that. I didn't,
Uh-huh.
all I knew I was in New York
A
City.
real big city. Yeah.
We went down to one bar there, and they had a sign up behind the bar.
Yeah.
Please do not spill the whiskey on the bar, it eats up your wood. I looked at that and said, what in the world they serve here? He said, I don't know, they have barreled up back in the back.
Yeah.
And they just put it in bottles and bring it out here.
That's great. You didn't make it to Jack Dempsey's by any chance, did you?
Yes.
You did?
I went there.
Yeah, I've been there myself.
And we finally got to one place there, and that guy bartender said, there was a seaman off a merchant ship there. He said, everybody you boys a drink. So they set a shot of whiskey up, 2 shots of whiskey up there. And I looked at him and I said, I can't drink no more. And the guy said, well, I'm gonna drink. He downed the first one, and he threw his head back to down the second one. He never stopped. He ran straight over backward and hit the floor. I thought he killed him. And I got him up. I said, we got to get back to the ship. And I drug him out there and got a taxi cab. And that guy said, if he throws up in this taxi cab, you're going to clean it up. I said, if you hear me say a stop, you better dad blame well stop, because you're going to clean it up then.
Yeah.
So I got him back to down there. When we come in that night, or that afternoon, when we was coming ashore, it was high tide.
Mhm.
And we stepped right off the landing craft onto the dock.
Mm-hmm.
When we were going back home, get back on the ship,
Different.
it'd been dropped about 15 feet.
Yep.
And he just walked right off the side down and fell in the bottom of that boat. And I said, good God, he's dead, and I know.
Yeah.
Killed him or broke him all to pieces. Didn't even bruise him. He was dead. When I went down there, he was just as happy sitting there as he could be. If he hadn't been drunk, he'd have killed him.
Yeah, that's what they say. They say the good Lord really takes care of drunks. Now, we're at the point, I guess, where the war's over. And it's 6 months, it's VJ plus 6 months. And you're leaving the service with a smile on your face because you're returning to resume more or less a normal life with your bride.
Right. I had a good, I wouldn't take nothing for the experience I had in the service.
Yeah.
Nothing. I had, like you said, I had good service.
Well, Bill, let me see. radar man, third class Bill Dreggors, thank you so much for this story. I really feel that I've got some insight about the Midway and about the business of a seaman and a radar man that I never would have got any other way. Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you.